Hey, it's Patrick and Kyle, and today we're ranking the Judas Priest albums.
Yep, no need to get into the history of Judas Priest. Top 3 metal band of all time. Can't deny it. 19 full-length albums, and the only live material I have by them is Unleashed in the East on cassette. Got my preferred version of the Ripper on here for sure. And we have them all on CD with the exception of the Ripper albums. I'd light up a copy of them, but they're kind of expensive right now. And I'm going to take over at the beginning of the list. Patrick's more familiar with the later, the higher ranked material. But we're going to get started at number 19. That's Demolition from 2001, their 14th album. Definitely not a bad release, but just too late 90s, early 2000s, different style. Doesn't really feel like a Judas Priest album for me. So our number 18 is Rock-A-Rolla, the debut album from 1974. The clear highlight for pretty much everyone is the title track Rock-A-Rolla, but I'm also a big fan of Never Satisfied, especially the way it rides out at the end. And definitely a fun album overall, and just a sign of the greatness that's to come.
Yep, and I like Rock-A-Rolla too.
Nice. So that leaves us at number 17. 2008's Nostradamus, the 16th album, and their only double album. An ambitious release, pretty interesting, but too many interludes. A lot of okay songs like Pestilence and Plague, Lost Love, Persecution, but I think it ends pretty strong with the last couple tracks. Nostradamus and Future of Mankind.
Yep, again, and like Rock-A-Rolla, I like the title track, Nostradamus.
Nice. Okay, so number 16 is the last album we don't have. That is Jugulator from 1997. Definitely a killer metal release. Ripper does an awesome job. Talented singer. Seems like a good guy. But that album definitely goes for a pretty penny these days. And just definitely feels a little dated, a little too of the time. And just not timeless like the classic Priest material.
Yeah, and it just doesn't sound the same without Rob Halford.
Yep, I agree. So, number 14.
Point of Entry.
Yeah, you know what? This is actually risen in my list. Used to be right at the bottom. Definitely leaning a little bit more into the hard rock and a little bit away from the metal, in my opinion. But definitely great tracks on here. Heading Out on the Highway, Hot Rockin', Desert Plains, Solar Angels. Definitely one of the worst Judas Priest songs ever, if not the worst. You Say Yes. But it's definitely been a grower for me.
Yep, and I like Desert Plains.
Good one. Okay, number 14.
Ram It Down.
1988. Ram It Down. Definitely somewhat of a forgotten Priest album in a way. The title track, definite highlight. Heavy metal's good. Love Zone's a goofy Priest track, but I kind of like it. My favorite one on here might be Hard as Iron. That is just a metal song. And I saw that part where Halford goes, earthquake, and you hear the earthquake sounds. It just rules. So this is our number 14.
Yep, and like Nostradamus, and like Rock-A-Rolla, I like the title track, Ram It Down.
Cool. 13.
Redeemer of Souls.
Yeah, you know what? This is yet another album that I used to put near the bottom of my list, but upon recent spins, I definitely gained a lot more respect for it, and it's just kind of showing you the greatness of Judas Priest. Even the albums that I kind of considered clunkers when I'm listening to them this last couple times I put them in the car, I was just, they were better than I remember them being. The opener, Dragonaut, awesome. March of the Damned, Down in Flames, Cold Blooded. Oh, you know which one I really like was Snakebite. That one's on here, right? Anyways, Redeemer of Souls, number 13. So, 12. British Steel. Maybe a little bit low for some people. This is their sixth album from 1980. This is where, Patrick starts getting a little bit more familiar with the albums. Starts off strong, Rapid Fire, Metal Gods, one of their biggest hits, Breaking the Law, Grinder, United's kind of goofy. You don't have to be old to be wise is okay. Was never a big Living After Midnight guy. The Rage is a good one. Great album, but not even in my top 10.
Yeah, I like Breaking the Law. I kind of like Living After Midnight.
Okay. Number 11. Angel of Retribution from 2005. Their 15th album and the comeback of Rob Halford.
Yeah, but it was kind of the same thing with like Iron Maiden with like a Brave New World.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say their best albums, but definitely strong albums with the returns of the singers for sure. Starts off strong with Judas Rising, but that's not one of my favorite tracks. I like Deal with the Devil, Wheels of Fire. My two favorite ones are probably two of the more laid back ones, Angel and Loch Ness. So, looks like the new album, Invisible Shield, cracking the top 10.
Yep, Invisible Shield has Panic Attack, The Separate and the Cane, Invisible Shield, The Devil in Disguise.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like people did not like this as much as Firepower, and as you can see from our list so far, I guess we agree with that. But after several spins, I found myself liking pretty much every song on here. My complaints are that in some of the early tracks, like I don't really like those choruses. I just kind of repeat the same thing over and over again, such as Panic Attack and The Serpent and the King. Devil in Disguise is pretty good. My favorite might be Gates of Hell. Crown of Thorns is pretty epic. Sons of Thunder, kind of like a Hammerfall song, but I was into it.
Yep, but I like Devil in Disguise and Gates of Hell.
Yeah, this winter we definitely had this in the car for definitely a good month there. Okay, number 9, one of the big ones.
Screaming for Vengeance. And actually, this has the first
1982.
Now, this has the first Judas Priest song that I ever note on it. You Got Another Thing Coming.
Yep. That might be, that's my favorite of the popular Judas Priest songs for sure. Starts off with The Hellion, somewhat of an intro, right into Electric Eye and Riding on the Wind, two of the best metal songs ever. The title track, Screaming for Vengeance, of course. And you know what? This album, there were many songs I kind of thought were filler. And as the years go on, songs like Bloodstone, Take These Chains, Pain and Pleasure, Fever. I don't know, like these songs all grow on me. And again, definitely a little bit more leaning towards the rock on this album, but that's okay. Definitely one of their two biggest albums, either that or British Steel.
And I also like Electric Eye and Screaming for Vengeance.
Awesome, yeah. Okay, what do we got next? Okay, we'll see how people feel about this. Our number 8. Turbo, yeah, I love it. There's a couple clunkers on here for sure. But overall, this is definitely like, if we're talking like albums I listen to the most. Yeah, I think it earned its spot at number 8 here. Turbo Lover. I think everyone can agree that's an awesome song. Locked In, one of my favorite Judas Priest songs. Same with Reckless. Parental Guidance, Private Property. They're goofy, but I love it. Rock You All Around the World. Ridiculous, but I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but I like Locked In and like Turbo Lovers. Either my like number 1 or like top 3 maybe.
Top 3 Judas Priest song?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so number 7, Killing Machine, 1978. Starting off strong, delivering the goods. Title track, well, not the title track, but Hellbent for Leather. Take on the World's a Throwaway. The Green Manalishi. The title track, Running Wild. Love that one.
Yeah, but I like Running Wild too.
Yeah, that's definitely a top 10 Judas Priest song. And definitely kind of like a forgotten album for me in the early years. It took me a long time to get into this album.
Okay, number
6
is Stained Class. It also has one of another Judas Priest song that I know pretty early, Exciter.
Exciter, yep. Yeah, those are 2 of your favorite early metal songs, Kiss Exciter and Judas Priest Exciter. Better by You, Better Than Me, a cover song, but one of my favorites here. Savage, the epic Beyond the Realms of Death, and this is actually my first Judas Priest album, at least on CD.
Yeah, but
My first one ever was Sin After Sin on cassette, but this was my second Judas Priest thing I ever bought.
And I also like Beyond the Rails of Death.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic. Okay, so starting at the top 5 might be unpopular.
Number 5, Firepower.
Yeah.
Another early Judas Priest song that I know, Firepower.
Yeah, this album has held up for me. It's several years old already. Starting off strong with Firepower, Lightning Strike, Love Necromancer, Traitor's Gate, No Surrender, Flamethrower. I can go on and on. My favorite song here is definitely The Spectre. That song rules.
Yeah, but I like that. Yeah, I like The Spectre too.
Yeah, I love guitar on that. And I guess my issue with this is there's probably like 3 songs that I do skip. But this was a great comeback. A lot of people were loving this. Definitely a lot better than Redeemer of Souls. And the only time I've seen Judas Priest live, like I like Judas Priest ever since I was maybe 15, but I never really got hardcore into them well into my 20s. And so yeah, I've only seen them on the Firepower tour, and I got high hopes, and I think there's a high probability that you and I can see them on the Invincible Shield tour, even though they haven't announced a date yet around here.
Okay, but number 4, Sad Wings of Destiny.
Yep, the second album, and the beginning of what Judas Priest was really about. This is from 1976. Starts off with one of the greatest songs, Victim of Changes, followed by another one of the greatest Priest songs, The Ripper, Tyrant, Dreamer Deceiver. One of the most important metal albums ever.
Yep, I also love Ripper too.
Yeah.
Okay, but top 3.
Top 3.
Number 3,
Sin After Sin, 1977. Sinner, Diamonds and Rust, Starbreaker, Last Rose of Summer. I always love that song, kind of a mellow one. Let Us Pray, Call for the Priest, Raw Deal, Here Come the Tears, Dissident Aggressor. I just named the whole album. I meant to name several, but like classic after classic.
Okay, number 2, Defenders of the Faith. This is probably my favorite Judas Priest album, but
Okay.
Daddy likes one more.
9th album from 1984.
Yep, it has a bunch of good songs. Some heads are gonna roll.
Well, let's just start from the beginning. Free Wheel Burning, Jawbreaker, Rock Hard, Ride Free, top 3 Judas Priest guitar solo.
Yep, I also like Rock Hard and Ride Free too.
The Sentinel, you know what? That was probably when I really fell in love with Judas Priest. I used to just, again, be a casual fan. And I just somehow was listening to The Sentinel. And the song blew my mind. And I just went back and gave everything a second try. Been a big fan ever since. And let's keep going. Eat Me Alive. It's like a weaker track, but still like pretty much perfect. Some heads are going to roll. Some people think it's corny. Perfect. Night Comes Down. Heavy Duty. Defenders of the Faith. But you know what? There's one album that is. I think I gotta give it number 1.
Number 1, this is Daddy favorite, Painkiller.
The 12th album from 1990, Painkiller. Definitely a top 20 metal album ever for me. Not a bad song on here. This is a band like at the peak of their powers, just laying down the gauntlet, and I think like challenging the metal world, saying who can compete with this? And not many albums can. Painkiller. Is that the best Judas Priest guitar solo?
Yeah, that's top 3 for me, and
Yeah.
that's another early Judas Priest song I know, Painkiller.
Hell Patrol, All Guns Blazing, Leather Rebel, Metal Meltdown, Nightcrawler. I love that one.
Yeah, I like Metal Meltdown.
But it gets better. Between the Hammer and the Anvil, badass song. A Touch of Evil, One Shot at Glory. Amazing. This album is our number 1. Thanks for joining us.
See
See you next time.